Welcome to Riverbend Talon on WBGZ. Brought to you by the Halpin Music Company.
Oh, yeah, brought to you by Mr. Matt Van Voorhis, who actually insures my partner Pigpen.
He does. He insures my home, and my car, my motorhome, all that stuff, man.
And me too, yeah. So if he can insure us.
Oh, if he can insure me, he can insure anybody. I was called uninsurable by several agents, but no.
Well, he got you.
But Matt V, and not only is he a great insurance agent, ask him to bring his guitar when he comes to give you quotes.
Well,
great
right.
Guitar player.
He's up in Grafton tonight.
Is he playing up there tonight?
Yeah, Grafton
Excellent.
Music in the Park. It's the Acoustic
right.
Stubblefield Band.
The Acoustic Stubblefield. Excellent, man. So Matt V,
The other
Matt
voice
Taul.
the folks are hearing we need to introduce is Fritz Beer. He's sitting in there. I can hear him.
Hello, Fritz Beer.
Am I live in the...
You are live. You are live on air, buddy.
All right. Hey, thanks for having me.
Man, thanks for coming in. Thanks for being on the show. We're going to be talking to Fritz Beer. We also got Gus Kodros from the Bishops. They're going to be doing their big show down at Elijah P. So we'll be talking quite a bit about that tonight. But we also got another band, Broken Kingdom, going to be on. So a lot going on, lot to get through in an hour.
Right. So
not to mention 3 pages of gigs, 4 pages of gigs.
A full page for Thursday night. I mean, it's a Thursday night in Alton. Here we go, right?
Let's see what's happening in the Alton area on Thursday night.
Well, we always have the night market down at Pocket Park, right? And we got 2 acts going on. We got Justice and the Experience in the park, and then we got Darius Spangler inside Jacoby's Art Center.
Nice. I love the way Jacoby's is teaming up on that one, so that's fabulous.
So, and then they'll have the open mic going on right there at Germania.
Right, all right there, man. Mm-hmm. That's the new artist district of Alton, man, with the lighthouse opening up and Jacoby's, and that's going to be the new artist district up there.
Right.
And then once we connect that to the downtown 3rd Street area, we're going to start competing with the Loop over there.
Oh, yeah. And speaking of that area, down at Raging Cajun tonight, the Piano Bar, they've got their open mic with Jamie Dunn and Devon McClendon. Later tonight, DJ Denice, Dwayne Williams down at Bossanova, the Martini Bar, 9 o'clock, right there in that area.
Sea shanty's probably not going to happen. I met the bartender to Morrison's last night, actually at the bar right up the road, and he said that over 350 people showed up at the Casey Hall for that benefit.
Nice. That's
so
wonderful.
happy to thank you, everybody. Thanks for doing that.
Thanks a lot.
That was for Morrison's?
Yeah. Morrison's has not been open for a long time because of the flood. So
for the one they had benefit they had at Elijah P's, Lovejoy.
Lovejoy.
That was packed too.
That might have been the one he was talking about. That's the one that just happened. Yeah. I got my places wrong.
That was packed,
yeah. So thanks to everyone who came out for that, and I hope keep them guys open. We need them.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's great news. And we mentioned that the Stubblefield Almost Acoustic is going on up in Grafton, 7 to 9.
I love it.
Right.
That's Bobby Etley, I guarantee it.
And that's up as you come off Route 3 coming down the hill. Grafton Elementary is right there. It's like right across from there.
Nice.
For now, until they get back down to their other location, Grove Memorial Park.
Once the water goes down a little farther.
Mm-hmm. Mo Pleasure doing at least one more night, a Thursday night. It says through June 27th at the Lake House at Buffalo Park in Maryville. The Nelson Brothers at 6 p.m. at Wiggler's Bar at Holiday Shores in Edwardsville. Jason McAtee and Matt Taul's cousin, Ian.
Right.
6 p.m. at Baker's in Hale and Godfrey. You know, anybody could be Matt Taul's cousin. Right?
There's a lot of Tauls running around this area, man. I don't know what's going on with those Tauls. Matt himself's got like 12 kids or something. I don't know.
Right.
Does he?
He's got a bunch.
Really?
He's got at least a baseball team worth.
I think that's fake news. A little bit of fake news in there, Big Ben. But
He once told me after the 3rd one, the only thing is trying to remember all their names. But it gets easier. That's what he told me.
I don't know any kids at all.
Wow. So there you go. All acoustic solo night. Jimmy G, Kevin Rennick, Lisa Jones, Scott Smith, and Ed Belling. That's all at Imperial Pub. So a bunch of acoustic solo going on down there. Set up by Jimmy G Productions.
in Granite City.
Yep.
Adam Gaffney and the Highway Saints at the Stagger-Inn-Again in Edwardsville, and the Mondin Band doing the acoustic thing at Deutz Village Inn in Granite City. Hookie's going across the river tonight, and all the folks in their cars heading over to see Hookie tonight at the Pooh Bar guitar. We appreciate you traveling into that big city over there and supporting our local act.
Man, and they're playing with some kind of national act or something. Year of the Cobra and Forming the Void.
Right.
So I think one of those is supposed to be a national act. I don't know. I don't believe it.
Well, coming from you, it could be anything.
I don't believe anything comes out of my mouth. That's why I don't believe it. If you would have read it, I would be believing it. I'd be like, wow, Dennis said it. That's probably true.
Here's one you can believe. Flipside at DJ's Pub in Jerseyville.
There you go, man.
That wraps up Thursday night.
And that's just Thursday night. Come on, man. That's pretty good.
So let's take a break. We'll meet the Broken Kingdom. Then we'll come back and we'll talk to the bishops as Gus Kodros is going to join us as well as Fritz Beer, and we'll talk about their reunion coming up. What is that, Saturday? The 27th, right?
Saturday the 27th down at Elijah P.
They call it the Lovejoy now, but formerly Elijah P's on Piassau Street.
We all know it as Elijah P's.
Yeah,
so there you go. Also, if anybody wants to call in for free tickets, Red, White, and Floyd, tribute to Pink Floyd, and Cops, a tribute to the police, is going to be playing at Pops also on the August 17th. So
no limit. You can have as many as you want.
Yeah,
we got
call in. We got a ton of tickets, so they were nice enough to
we'll
drop
give
them
off. Away until we're
What's
out
the phone number?
465-1570.
There you go. Call that number, and we'll hook you up with some tickets.
465-1570. Brought to you by Halpin Music Company and Mr. Matt Van Voorhis of Macias Insurance. You're listening to Riverbend Talent, back with The Broken Kingdom.
And now more Riverbend Talent
with Dennis Laird and Pigpen.
Back with another segment of Riverbend Talent. I'm Dennis, and you're Pigpen.
I am, as far as I know.
And who are we talking to tonight?
Today we've got two of the guys from Broken Kingdom in, and we got Mr. Jimmy Peck.
How's it going, guys?
And we've got Eric Footen, which I'm not sure if that's really a real name or not.
It's made up.
Eric Footen. It's his stage name.
Right.
And Jimmy Peck plays guitar and sings for Broken Kingdom, and Eric Footen is the guitarist. Missing in action, we've got Erin Ellis Bird, and she plays percussion, plays drums for
drummer,
him.
yeah. Right.
This is one thing we just found out about this band.
Yeah, maybe you did.
Their bass player has left them. Or they've asked him to leave. Doesn't matter.
What is he? Elvis? Left the building?
Splitting hairs here. But that means they're looking for a bass player.
Oh, yeah.
So, depending on when this,
Halpin had that bass sale going on.
That's what I'm getting
So
at
if someone's out there listening
you got to have some thick skin if you're going to play bass for us, too.
Yeah.
And thick strings.
Any bass player should know that.
Yeah.
Because there are going to be bass jokes.
At least one string on the bass.
Okay.
Just ride E.
Man, you could play in this band, Pigpen.
Or C sharp in our case.
I know two notes.
There you go.
That's all you need.
I know E and the other E.
That's rock and roll.
That's all you got to know. That's close enough for rock and roll.
I can play a B flat.
Oh, man. No.
That's
We
it.
don't do anything fancy like that.
So if someone's sitting out there right now going, so what do I do? What do I do?
Yeah,
how do they
how would a
contact
bass
you?
player get a hold of you? Let's do that right out of the box.
Facebook. It'd probably be the easiest way to get a hold of us. So.
Out of the box would be a good name for a band too. I just thought of that when I said
Out of the
I don't
box.
So you
they
just
can get a hold of you through Facebook,
Yeah.
and just hit you up and say, hey, have you found a bass player yet?
Yeah.
'Cause
but you want to search for Broken Kingdom right on Facebook.
Broken
yeah,
Kingdom.
The Broken. See, that's why I bring this up.
Right.
See,
That's why we're
you can't just
clarifying.
fly by searching. You got to get it direct.
And there's
The Broken Kingdom.
There's
band.
a couple hosers up
Does that
in
help?
Canada
The
land that
Broken
has the same name as us too, so make sure you get the right one.
Those bunch of Canucks.
All right, so
Actually, I think they changed that.
Did they?
Yeah, I think we're the only one on there.
There you go.
Good. I told you it would resolve
It would
itself.
result itself.
Well, the
It worked itself
Canadian
out.
politics is on an upswing, and they felt like they weren't really from a Broken Kingdom anymore. They
I
felt like,
mean-
I don't know. Fake news. I don't know anything.
So yeah,
I
search
know
for
very
the
little
Broken.
Canadian politics.
All right.
Throw that out.
I don't blame you. You're not from there.
Now, here's what happened, though. Before the bass player, I'm pretty sure that if my timeline is correct, before the bass player departed, before the departure, you guys not only put out a 3-song demo a year ago, which we have here, but you just recently dropped a single, right?
Yep, Waste.
Waste is the name of the single. So,
Yeah, that's right.
And that was the last thing that the poor bass player did before he passed on from this world. No, I don't.
Fake news.
Actually, he the album that we're working on. He'll be on that. The full
Oh,
album.
okay.
Our original drummer and the bassist are on the album that's going to be coming out in June. So
In June.
The runs are finished.
All right. So
Now, didn't one of the guys from Inner Outlines jam with you guys?
yeah, the drummer Cody Walker.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, he'll be on this album.
He actually, if it wasn't for him, man, we wouldn't be near probably anything at this point. Because, like, I wrote, like, the majority of the songs on this first album on an acoustic guitar by myself. And then, you know, I knew that he was really busy with Inner Outlines. And I was like, hey, man, like, I got these songs and I really want to do something and get a band together with it. And I asked him, I said, I know you're really busy with Inner Outlines. You got time to get together with me and jam and see what happens, and it just kind of went from there. And we were trying to figure out a bassist, and he's like, well, hey, I got this buddy named Seth, and he came along. And then Eric, I went back home for a trip to visit my family back on the East
hold on.
Coast.
Pause the story. We have to let the listeners know what back home is. You guys actually came from the East Coast originally. You live in Brighton now.
Yep.
But you came from the East Coast. Pennsylvania, Maryland,
West Virginia,
and West Virginia all
right
at the
where they
same
meet.
time. You guys lived at the spot where those three states touch, right?
rolling
Pretty
3D.
much. You walk a mile and you can be in all three.
Yeah.
All three
Yeah, pretty
states.
much.
Nice.
Yeah, tri-state.
And if you can stretch your legs far enough, you can be in all three at the same time.
All right.
You know,
stretch
Blue
on.
Ridge Mountain, Mountain Mama,
yeah.
Shenandoah River. Is that around there? I'm just going by what John Denver
Yeah, it's
said.
close.
Yeah.
But
John
no, I
Denver,
think
West
that was-
Virginia,
I
right?
think that was Western Virginia.
Oh.
I don't know.
John Denver,
Right.
he didn't get it right.
I don't know. if
We're
he got it right.
uncovering
He
some
didn't get it
stuff
right
here.
when he flew that plane into the. I know that.
Yeah, that was definitely a bad.
He didn't get that far right.
He had better moments.
I'll tell you what, though, if he meant Western Virginia, the people of West Virginia sure adopted that song.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's theirs now.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he said-
property
Yeah,
of
there's
West
that.
Virginia.
Let's see. West Virginia. He doesn't say Western Virginia, I'm pretty sure.
I think he says West Virginia, but every
I
time
didn't even know there
listen
was
to
a Western Virginia till now.
There is now.
What part of the Civil War were they on?
Do what?
They had to-
Virginia?
Yeah,
Western
Western Virginia. Were they
They
like,
were with Virginia.
Okay.
They were with the Eastern Virginia.
just making
yeah.
sure it wasn't like an
They were
alternate
Commonwealth.
Virginia
It's
Civil
like-
War
it's
going
like
on
when
there.
when you're on the Gulf side of Florida and you realize you're actually on the East
Well,
Coast.
There was one large Virginia,
wait a minute.
and then Western Virginia, didn't like what Virginia was doing in the Civil War, so they made West Virginia
Oh, wow.
in 1863.
Hey, you learn
History
something
lesson.
every time you listen to Riverbend Town.
That's right.
Didn't know we were having history class.
Right. The same thing happened in Missouri, only they stayed Missouri. They didn't split.
Right.
Yeah.
So back to the story. You
Yeah.
went back to the East Coast. You
Yeah, I
were,
went
you were on
back.
the East Coast. You came here for a little while and went back to the East Coast.
Well, this was actually just a visit for a week or so. I actually I went back there to see some family, and he and I have been best friends for over half our lives. So obviously, I wanted to catch up with them while I was back there, and just situations at the time that was going on in his life, and it kind of seemed like he needed a little bit of a change. And I was like, well, hey man, check it out. I got I've been working with this drummer, and I played a couple of those songs on acoustic for him, and he's like, you know what, man? He's like, I think I might come out there. And he was actually wanting to, at that time, like drop everything and come right away. And I was like, well, man, you gotta
I
get
was
your.
excited. I was a little too excited at first.
So you gotta get
you
your.
seem like you're pretty excitable.
He hides it well.
Now let's go back before that even then. So you two have been best friends your whole life. So when did the two of you actually start playing music together?
About 15 or 16 years old. So.
So when did you get your first guitar?
Let's see. I was probably about 12 whenever
And
I
how
first.
about you, Eric?
I was 14.
So
Yeah.
so 12 you got your Jimmy got yours.
Probably
14.
ninth grade.
Wow. And then about 15 or 16, you started hooking up, playing.
Yeah,
some songs.
My
Did
cousin.
you start writing songs, or did you start just playing covers, trying to
No,
figure
we
it out?
wrote. We tried. We tried to write anyway.
Yeah.
Right. It's always hard in the beginning. It's hard now.
Yeah, it's not easy.
I have a cousin that introduced us, and he kind of tried to play drums. His dad, my Uncle Monty, is a drummer for a cover band back home that's pretty well known in that area. And so Uncle Monty had his drum kit over there at the house, and my cousin Chris was like, hey, because he knew how into playing guitar I was getting. He's like, hey, I got this buddy that shreds pretty good. And so he came over to my cousin's, and we played for a while. My cousin just wasn't really into the whole music thing. He was more a video game kind of guy. And so, Eric and I, ever since that first time of jamming, was like, all right, man, well, let's, I had my first band that, I was in at that time, and things weren't going so great between me and the drummer, and, we ended up calling it quits, and then he and I just started jamming in the garage. And
So you guys both had the guitars and were into it, but your cousin was more like his dad just happened to have some drums.
Yeah.
So he thought he'd give it a shot.
Yeah. And then he was like, and then he found out, he and I are hanging out without him. He's like, hey, wait a minute. Like, I introduced you guys. And
sorry, we had a band meeting. You're
so
out.
you're not, he was just never cool enough either, man.
He was always wanting to cover, like free songs, like Jimmy Crack Corn and I Don't Care, things that, you didn't have to pay for No, I don't know.
This when he brought up that Cyndi Lauper song, that was over. It was over for me.
Cyndi Lauper.
Yeah.
That was the deal.
Look, I loved her during that whole girls just want to have fun, but once she hit the time after time thing, I'm out, man. I don't know. Anyway, so you guys, you started writing songs real early on, and
we were more about partying back then.
Well, that's how you get a guitar, is because you get invited to parties if you got a guitar.
Yeah. If we would have spent half the amount of time playing and writing music as we did partying, we probably would have actually went somewhere a long time ago.
The choir said, "Hey man!" All my friends practiced, I partied, and they're all really good now.
Yeah.
And I'm still going, gee.
That and we practiced stage moves in the garage.
I love that. We should all do this at the same time.
Literally for like an hour.
More about the look than it was the music.
Yeah.
He's laughing, but he did the same thing, Pigpen. I remember.
You kidding me? I can't tell you how many times I would take a towel and a clippy and make a tape and grab a hairbrush and pretend I'm Ronnie James Dio.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Ride the tiger.
Whoa, do you evil woman?
Yeah.
Ronnie's got an evil woman walk away song on every album.
Oh, man.
You have 30 bands before you ever have an instrument.
Yeah. We had a band back in the day that was, it was actually like 3 different bands rolled into one. We had 3 different drummers, and we really never knew which one was going to show up for practice.
That's smart, actually.
You're playing a numbers game. You got 3 drummers, one of them's bound to show.
I remember
that's smart.
one time in particular, man, like neither one of the other 2 showed up, and then we called Russell up, and he lived like an hour and a half north of us, and was like, hey man, and he didn't drive either, and he's like, well, I'll hitchhike down there, man. He's like, I'll be there in like 2-3 hours tops, and he showed up.
Nice.
We were
That's
pretty
dedication.
That is.
That is dedication. Right there. I mean, most drummers won't show up until you supply them a drum set.
Yeah.
And they got a car. They're like, I'm too busy,
It's either dedication or complete boredom, right? Because that's all he had to do, right?
He lived an hour and a half north. There was nothing going on. That town was dry. There was nothing happening. He's like, I'll do anything to get out.
Yeah.
So that's pretty funny there. So that was all back out on the East Coast.
Yep.
And then at what stage in your life did you end up coming out here to the great West Coast?
Yeah,
Midwest Coast.
Midwest Coast. I was about 19 years old whenever I first came out here, And I stayed here until, that was 2006. I stayed here until 2008. I went to Florida for a couple years, and then rehab, and then back here.
What brought you here? Why here?
He and I were actually in a pretty bad car accident, and so at that point in my life, I didn't really have any place to live, and I was just kind of like crashing with whoever would let me crash at that point in time. Yeah. And so when this car accident happened, the doctor said it was going to be probably about 6 months worth of, recovery and physical therapy. And my dad was like, well, I'm not letting you come back here. You're a drug addict and this and that. And so my mom and stepdad had actually moved out here and lived in Calhoun County.
Oh, okay.
And my stepdad, whenever they found out what happened, told my mom, he's like, well, if he wants to come out here, he can, as long as he gets his head out of his ass. And, so.
Had any luck with that yet?
That's
not an easy procedure.
Actually, over the past couple years, I've been pretty good, man. Completely clean and sober for actually almost 2.5 years now.
That's good when you can't remember how long it's been.
Yeah. So
it used to be the other way around. Yeah. I can't remember last time I was sober. But now you can at least remember, right?
So once you got out here, you teamed up with the drummer Cody.
This was whenever I first lived around here. It was I didn't play music with anybody around here. I remember living over there in Calhoun County my first time going into town. I asked this girl at the ice cream shop, I was like, anybody looking for a guitarist or a singer in their band? And she's like, not unless you want to play country music.
Yeah.
And I just kind of laughed. I said, do I look like I want to play country music? She's like, no, you do not. So
that's the same way everywhere.
Yeah. And it just, man, it was really hard to find anybody, number one, that was on the same playing field talent-wise with me, not trying to, brag on myself or anything, but I knew that I was good. And so it was hard to find people that were good enough to jam with. There was a cover band that of some high school kids that gave me a CD with, a couple different songs on it to learn. Tomorrow from Silverchair was one of them, and that I remember going to that practice, and that they were like, I told them that was the one that I probably knew the best. That Mississippi Queen, and
Leslie West.
Yeah, right. And there was like a red jumpsuit apparatus song, whatever, and so they were like, well, we probably know that Tomorrow song the best, and so the drummer counts it off, and they just pummel this song, man, and it's like nobody's on time with each other. It's everybody's just all over the place. It's so terrible. Like, I'm having a hard time keeping my place in the song, right. And they're just into it, man. Jumping around, head banging.
I remember you now. You did come to my house that day. I remember that.
Oh, my bad, Doc.
We were tearing it up, bro. We were shredding. What happened? That's hilarious.
But no, these guys, man, like, and I'm like, I can't help but laugh, like, while this is going on, and they get to the end of the song, they're like, yeah, that's the best that song's ever sounded. And I was like, oh my God, dude. And I was like, hey, man, I'm going to go outside, smoke a cigarette, and drink a beer, and so then I came back in and I hung out with them the rest of the time. Didn't play music with them anymore. I ended up hanging out with those guys a lot when I lived there, but never played music with them again.
Huh.
But it was hard to find people that were serious, and some things just aren't meant to be at a certain time, I guess. And
we found Eric Footen. He's serious.
Yeah.
And now you guys got it together and got an EP, right?
Yep.
So, and you've got an album coming out in June, a full length album coming out approximately in June.
Yep.
And so now that the album's recorded, you're going to kind of concentrate on hitting some gigs.
Right now we're in the final stages of recording. So while we're working on finishing that up and getting our merchandise and everything, as soon as we find a bassist, I'm going to start booking. We've got offers that are on the table that I've kind of told people, like, give me a couple weeks to get back to you. We have an audition coming this weekend, and I was just thinking, man, if it doesn't work out with him, I could probably find somebody to fill in for us for a couple shows just to get out there and, maybe getting out there and playing and letting people know at the shows, like, hey, we're looking for somebody to fill this spot. So
there you go.
You could also go on this radio program I heard about. A lot of musicians listen to it.
Yeah.
And you could say, we're looking for a bass player.
Yeah.
Maybe even give out your Facebook or information.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be a bad idea, would it?
What show is it?
It's called Riverbend Talent.
Oh.
It's on 94.3.
That's our show.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, I heard about those guys.
Didn't realize. I thought you knew something I didn't know.
No, I don't know anything at all. Nothing.
Wait, what happened?
All right, so we got to ask the $1 million question. Why Broken Kingdom? Where did that come from?
Well, we were actually kind of back and forth on a lot of different names, and nothing just really seemed right. I remember we were there for a minute because one of the songs on that EP there is called Set Me On Fire, and I thought about calling the band Set Me On Fire, and we actually were kind of rolling with it there for a minute. Cody, the drummer, was like, I don't know, man. It seems kind of dumb to have a band named after a song.
Yeah,
and I was like, well, it worked for Bad Company,
Black Sabbath.
Yeah, Black Sabbath.
But anyway, it never kind of really sat completely well with us, and nothing else was really sounding good. So Eric and I sat down for
It's a whole day.
Yeah, quite a few
We're not
hours.
leaving this room until we come up with
Yeah,
something we both love.
a good chunk of an afternoon, and we went through old book titles and stuff, just trying to find something.
I'll tell you what, if you're looking for a good band name, go into the Aesop's Fables and look at the story titles. There's some gold in there, man. There is.
Right.
Aesop's Fables.
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah,
But we didn't wind up using one of those, but
yeah,
it gave us a lot of cool ideas.
I found out where As I Lay Dying got their name
There you go.
from. So.
Yeah.
A lot of literature titles.
But yeah, we ran across a book series called The Broken Kingdoms, plural, and I was like, hey, wait a minute. And we were back and forth between that and I had came up with a name, The Saint, the Cynic, and we thought about going with that, and I was like, well, we both kind of were like, it might be a little bit too deep of a name for people to really, most people don't like to think past the surface level of things. So
Right.
I was like,
It's the Facebook generation.
yeah, I was like,
It's
well,
a great album title.
yeah,
There
we
you
plan
go.
to use that for our third album title. But anyway,
I think you're right, though. Broken Kingdom, you remember quicker.
yeah, it's
that's true.
And it's a nice, easy logo, just a crown with a break in it. So there you go.
yeah.
I'm just saying.
And then we settled on that in the idea that our fans and us, Jimmy kind of touched a little bit on his past, issues with things, drugs and alcohol wise and whatnot.
Yeah.
But we wanted the Broken Kingdom to not just be our band name. We wanted it to be our fan base.
Okay.
Like we're all part of this thing.
Yeah.
We're all broken
Kingdom.
in some sort of way,
Mhm. Yeah, it's a cool name.
But yeah, it's simple enough. It's catchy. It's simple. Like you can look at it on a surface level, or for the people that like to go a little bit deeper, there's that deeper meaning to it, which is kind of the way my writing style is with the lyrics. I try to put things in a way to where it's pretty black and white if you want it to be, but there's the gray area there too, So I kind of like to leave things open for interpretation for people to kind of project their own experiences on it.
Here's the best songs. You're visualizing what you've lived, not what they lived.
Exactly.
So
sometimes if you say my buddy Brett Lamar, he was a real big influence on my thinking towards that. He said, if you give too much information a person is likely to say, well, I don't know, I've kind of felt like that before, but not really, like that. He's like, but if you just kind of leave it, obscure, like, and just give the little tiny tidbits, it lets people make their own story.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Good advice, yeah.
Good songwriting advice right there.
All right, and then the EP out now, and it's available everywhere. You guys are working on a new album. You got the single Waste, right?
Yep.
And you're getting some plays there. What was it? Rock
Rage Radio, Rock Radio Revolution. We actually, the guys at the Viper, I don't think they played Waste yet. I haven't sent them Waste.
Broken.
Yeah, they played For the Broken, which is on that EP there.
Right. And you can stream all
Shout
this
out
on
to my
Spotify.
Okay.
Shout out to Tom Turbrock from the Viper.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, any of the digital locations, you can check this out at, stream it. Go to Facebook, search for The Broken Kingdom. If you want to figure out where all that's at, I'm sure there's links and different things there. You can probably check out some of it right there on Facebook, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Lots of live videos there too.
Yeah, that's where I picked up on Cody being part of what you guys were doing. It seemed like every video there was a different drummer or a different player, and I was trying to put it all together. But I guess you've got Erin now, and she's doing a great job for you guys as the drummer.
Great.
So yeah,
we're lucky to have found her.
Yeah,
when we did,
definitely.
man.
It's kind of crazy the way that all played out. I have this old buddy Lloyd he's like 83, I think. He's like an old wise owl, and
83.
Yeah, he's hilarious, man. Great sense of humor. But anyway, I was. He's one of those people that's kind of, a mentor for me. Like anytime I got something I'm dealing with, or need a little bit of wisdom on something, I'll hit Lloyd up. And I was sitting with him in his van one day, and this was like a year or so previous to Erin joining the band. Actually, maybe even a little bit more. And I had added her on Facebook. Back at that time, I was just adding drummers left and right on Facebook because I just knew at some point, like, we're going to have to find somebody else.
Or maybe three, so somebody shows up.
As much as I would have loved to have had Cody remain our drummer, I knew that his heart was in Inner Outlines. And I was like, I knew at some point that it was going to have to be something that was going to have to be done, and so I was telling Lloyd about my concerns, with having to find a new drummer at some point, and he said, well, he used to run a sawmill business for 40, 50 some years, whatever. And he was like, the thing that I've come to find out is, like, there's been a lot of times over the years where I needed a guy to do a job. And he said, and God always made sure that the right person came along at the right time. He said, and if this is what you're supposed to do with your life, and this is going to work out, he said, you need a man to do a job. He said, God will send you a man. He goes, who knows? In your case, it might be a woman. And when he said that, Erin actually popped into my mind, like, because I had seen her videos and stuff with the band that she had at that time, but dude, she lives like a little over 2 hours south of here.
Wow.
In Rolla, Missouri.
Wow.
And I was like, back at that time, I'd actually thought about asking her about, trying out for us, but there was the distance, and she was in another band, and I was like, well, I'm not really trying to get into the same boat that we're trying to get out of with having a member that's part of another band. So anyway, fast forward a little over a year probably, and it was Cody and I had discussed the possibilities of us finding somebody else. He was like, I just feel like you guys are at a point where you need a little more than what I'm able to offer you guys, and you deserve somebody that can put you as number one. And so we started putting feelers out there, and so anyway, I hopped on Facebook one day. It was on a break at work, and Erin had posted and said, hey, I'm looking for a second project. and it was like she had literally just posted it, and I sent her the link for our SoundCloud with the demo and said we're looking, and within like 5 minutes we were back and forth, and she's like, well, hey, I'd be willing to make that travel for the right band, and I really like what you guys have going on. So
that's cool. Yeah.
Awesome,
we brought her up to audition, and we knew within like 5 seconds of the first song, like, all right, this feels right.
Yeah. It's nice when you can tell.
away.
Yeah, I was going to say there's times that within a minute, or like you say, seconds, you're like, oh yeah, this feels good, Jan.
And we auditioned other people that we
just as quickly that it's not going to work.
work.
Yeah, you usually know pretty quick if it's going to work or not. But anyway,
now did she hitchhike up here?
No. She's fortunate enough to have her life in order.
She hitchhikes up, but we drive her back.
Oh, okay. right.
So how can people find out more about you guys? If people are looking to find out more information about you or to see upcoming gigs or anything, you guys got a Facebook page?
Yeah,
the
Facebook
Broken Kingdom.
Yep, Facebook would be the Broken Kingdom.
And then you got Instagram.
Yeah, we do have an Instagram and a Twitter.
Have you got an old school landline if people want to connect? I don't know.
I don't like to give out my personal phone number.
Digits. I don't give out my digits.
Yeah, because then the girls ain't going to leave me alone.
You're not in the Heartbreakers, brother. You're in the Broken Kingdom.
So easy to find you guys on all the social media. And, we were talking beforehand, and I wanted to bring this up because I think it's important. Pigpen and I talk about this a lot. Okay, so you're an original band.
Yep.
You're a heavy band. Mm-hmm. You guys live out in the country.
Yeah.
You got this much distance in between you, and you're still getting it together, and it's still difficult to find places to play on top of that. Yeah. And so you guys are going to have to go over into St. Louis and play places like the Foo Bar, which is a place you guys play quite a bit.
Yeah.
Now, when you play Foo Bar, you've got to sell tickets, right? That's how that works, right? Yeah. Very difficult to do.
Sometimes, yeah.
And then trying to get people to drive all the way over to St. Louis to check you guys out. Well, the good news is now we got some places in town where you guys can play, so I know you're excited about doing that.
Yeah, definitely.
And but I just wanted to bring that up. It's really tough when you play in St. Louis, and talk about that for a minute, what you were saying about selling tickets and then trying to go back and sell more tickets to the same people.
Yeah, we learned the hard way that you have to space your shows out a little bit, because if you have one weekend right after the next, people, you're not going to get rid of those tickets, so.
I've really been brainstorming. I told Eric, I said, I'm going to take a different approach to booking shows. I handle the booking for everything. I said, rather than playing, these shows where we got to sell tickets like once every month, I said, I'm going to, try to start booking at some smaller places, that are more of local places, because a lot of those people that we were having a tough time selling tickets to were like, man, if you were playing somewhere here in Alton, I'd totally come. So I was like, well, man, maybe we need to approach this in a different way. And so I was like, let's try to really space those St. Louis shows out to where it's, maybe once every other month or something like that, and try to keep it limited to the offers that are, opening up for either a national act that we know is going to bring a crowd, or some bands that actually are going to bring crowds, because a lot of those shows that we were playing at Foo Bar were with bands that we'd end up playing for the 10 people that came to see us and a handful of other people, and it's like, well, we're kind of it's defeating the purpose of coming over here and playing these shows is to get out in front of a crowd and to build a fan base and get exposure. So I was like, let's be real picky about those shows that we take, that we sell tickets for, and let's focus more on getting local bars and stuff that we can build a fan base over here on this side of the river. Maybe there's 10 Cents Promotions over in St. Louis. They do a lot of like free gigs for, it's usually a fundraiser type deal with them. They've got great hearts, and they're always trying to do something to help.
Yeah.
With whatever the need is. So that's something that I really want to take into consideration when we start booking this year too. Is getting out and doing those shows. But no, I figured, man, I was like, if we can do this local thing, and again, going back to my buddy Brett Lamar's advice, he's like, you gotta start here in the middle and work your way out and make circles. And I was like, if we could just get people to the bars or to the venues, wherever, to hear us, we're, not trying to toot our own horn, but we're a good band. I said if we can get them there, they're gonna like us. And then if we can get them to come back to those shows couple different times, then it might be a lot easier to get them to come across the river.
Cool. That's exactly what we wanted you to talk about, because we're constantly talking about it every week here on the show, and we're really excited about how our local original scene has been growing. We've always had cover bands in this area, but now we've got the back room at the Bottle and Barrel that's putting on original shows with heavier bands. Biff Gnarly and the Reptilians just played at Jacoby's. Josh Grassley, who's booking bands down there, has played in heavy bands his entire life. So the old punk rockers now are booking some of the shows in our town. Cool, and then we talked about the Imperial Pub, which is doing original stuff, Jimmy G Productions, and I'm glad we could hook you guys up with them. So I think you'll get a bass player and find a lot more opportunities now on this side of the river, and I'm glad you talked about that, because we're always saying it. People listening in that may not understand the music scene might be saying, well, they're just saying that because they're from here. No, it's real. This is really happening. So, thanks for talking about how tough it is to play over in St. Louis and do that thing. And thanks again, guys, for coming in and sharing your story with us.
Yep. Absolutely, man.
Thanks for having us.
All right, now get out there and search for The Broken Kingdom on all your favorite social media sites, and look forward to the new release coming up.
Shout out to Halpin Music for always being there and having what I need when I need it.
There you go, man. Appreciate that. Say, did my job. That was awesome.
Thanks so much, guys, for coming down and talking to us.
Thank you, man.
All right, back with more Riverbend Talent after this.
And now more
Riverbend Talent
with Dennis Laird and Pigpen on 94.3 FM, the Big Z.
Back with more Riverbend Talent. I'm Dennis. Pigpen's with me. Fritz Beer's with me. And Gus Kodros, are you there?
I am.
All right, we got them all.
There you go. And Gus and Fritz from the Bishops, who are doing a show this Saturday at Elijah P's.
Yeah, this Saturday at Elijah P's. Start somewhere around 7 or 8 o'clock, something like that, in there, somewhere in there. It's Elijah P's on Piasaw. It's called the Lovejoy now.
It's called the Lovejoy.
It's called the Lovejoy now, the Lovejoy Event Center, but it used to be Elijah P's. But that's what we know and love.
It is.
And it's going to be fun.
Nice. And Gus, you're driving all the way in from Rolla to play the show?
Yeah. I usually make it back to the Alton area about every 2 or 3 weeks, so on. And but I've been coming in to do rehearsals and so on, and looking forward to it. Always fun playing with these guys.
Go back a long way, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So we actually had I think one of Gus's bandmates on last week, Greg Morris.
Yeah,
did he play with Palace? Yeah,
I used to be in Palace with Greg. Yeah,
he's doing he's sitting in with the Undecided for the Undecided reunion. I guess that just happened. So.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's 1 year old going back to and Tony Morales and Lance Klein and the crew way back. And then after Palace, though, you hooked up with the Bishops, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Well, what year? About what year was that?
I don't know, Gus. What year I think it was you came on? We had a couple guys before you, or at least one guy.
You had Rich, and then
Bob,
a guy named Bob, a guy named Bob, me, and then
a guy named Bob Lodevogel, I think.
Yeah, and then I came on early '88, I remember, and Tim and I were actually in a band together, Culture Shock, back in the day, and then I remember seeing Tim on campus, and actually when the Bishops were first forming, he asked me if I was interested in playing, and at that time I was, playing music with some other guys, and turned them down, and then saw the Bishops later on, and was like, "Oh man, I blew that one." And then
opportunity missed.
Then Palace broke up, and then I wound up
getting the job anyway.
Him at FIUE, and he asked me again, and I was like, "Yeah, I went for it." And yeah,
very nice.
Great time.
All right, going all the way back to '88, though.
Yeah,
long time.
This has been like a couple, 2 or 3 years in a row now. You guys have gotten together at least once a year, right?
Yeah, we did the show. There was a big show that we did with Judge Nothing and Autumn Clock. And we did it over here at the Masonic Temple, whatever that club was at the time.
Right.
And we put a big deal together. We sold tickets online and all this stuff, and security and all these things, and it was fun and everything. But Tim and I were kind of like, we wanted to get back to the sort of a club thing,
yeah,
and just do a little bit more low key. And we had a great time, so we were all kind of interested in playing more.
Right.
And so. We went over to, we talked to Russ, Russ Smith, who we've known forever. We used to practice up in his building, and said, hey, we just want to do a free show at your place, Elijah P's. And he was all for it and helped us out, set it up and everything. And it was great. And kind of after that, we're like, well, we're going to do this every year.
Right.
Everybody go with that, and everybody's like, yeah, let's do it more than once a year. But every year's fine, but let's do it more than that.
That's great. Well, that getting together and just playing and having a good time. That's why you get in a band when you first get in a band. It's to hang out with guys and make music. It's not to even play clubs or to, it's to have a good time. So when you find yourself doing that, you're doing it right.
I think so. Well, I was telling you earlier that like Gus comes up from Rolla, and I haven't heard him complain at all.
Right.
Because we have a good time, don't we, Gus?
we really do. I mean, I remember the first time that we did like several years ago, wound up, Fritz was doing like a thing at Bossanova, and then wound up asking me, and then asked him. I think we tried to get everybody together, but it was just us three, and just had a blast just hanging out with the guys and practicing, and I mean, it's part of it. It's just sort of like the camaraderie. It's hanging out with the guys. It's I mean, it was my social set back in the day, so yeah, fun time.
Right. Yeah, well worth the drive from Rolla. Gotta make you feel a little young again, getting back with the old gang too. Right. You start acting like you're 18 again, telling the same jokes.
Right. Gives you an excuse to act
prolonged
stupid.
Adolescence.
Yeah, very nice, very nice. So that's great, man. Hopefully, this is going to just continue to be an annual thing with you guys, then, and we'll keep getting to see the Bishops at least.
We'd like to. I mean, we definitely have a lot of fun with it, and we've got a lot of songs, and we keep throwing new stuff into the mix each time we play, and so it's not just the same sets. So even though we get together once a year. We do a lot of the same ones that we like, but we throw in new stuff. So we do have to. We really actually have to rehearse because we got some shit to learn or some stuff to learn. Sorry.
So you're still writing new songs as you're going along. It's not just the stuff off the old Bishops albums. There's some new originals people are going to hear. If they show up tomorrow night, there's going to be a song they may have never heard before. Or Saturday, yeah. I'm sorry, I forget what day it is.
Yeah.
What day is this again?
This is
Thursday.
Thursday.
All right, back on track. I forgot where I was or who I was for just a minute.
Well, I write. Yeah, we've written some stuff and have some newer stuff. And these guys, the rest of the band are pretty cool about doing some of that stuff.
Nice.
If they like the song, they're like, okay, let's do that one. So there is newer stuff that actually is going into our set.
All right.
So it's kind of cool.
So there could even possibly be a new Bishops album on the horizon if enough new things get thrown in the mix, right?
There possibly could. Yeah.
There we go.
Well,
breaking news right here.
That's right.
You heard it here first.
A 2016 copy of a live recording at Elijah P's, and this is a double CD with the Bishops, and. Fritz was telling me before the show that he really liked the way they were able to pull the sound and then post mix this, which a lot of people are doing now with a live recording, and If it's that easy to record something new, why not, huh?
Well, yeah. And you guys know this. I mean, the studio stuff's fun.
Yeah.
It's going to the studio and working on a new song, and the recording process is a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah.
We like the layering guitars and stuff like that, and background vocals, and finding the new parts that go with the song. A lot of stuff comes into a song in the studio. It's like, wait, I'm going to do this harmony or something.
Right. You listen to the track and you suddenly hear something that belongs there.
Yeah. And we really love doing that. We used to record as much as we could afford to now. Well, now with the home studio stuff, you could set up and just roll.
Right.
I don't know I think it's nice to take it to a pro to mix it and things like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, with the equipment that we've got, we could track, 20 songs and come up with something.
Yeah. Well, and there's the good and the bad on both sides, like you said, because when you're a lot of people do the do it yourself recordings now because it's so cheap and easy to do. But I've been there, man, and when you're playing got the producer hat on and the player hat on, and it can take away from the performance if you're thinking about levels and things like that instead of just thinking about playing at that moment. So there's something great about being in a studio and having somebody else take care of that. But what Dennis alluded to about the live recording, what I love about those is that you get the energy of the live performance, not live in the studio, not live in your living room, not live anywhere, but live in front of a crowd. And now that they can record those flat.
They can record them flat. Can I plug this?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you can get this live CD. So we took this. The sound guy that did this, Derek Reiser, recorded this show, and I liked everything on it. So it's this 2 CD set is the whole show from start to finish.
Nice.
We didn't leave anything out.
Nice.
Because at a certain point, there's some things that could have been left out, but I'm like, nah, do the whole thing. Just have the whole show. You can get this on my website, which is www.fritzbeermusic.com. www.fritzbeermusic.com.
That's it.
There you go.
There's my plug.
There you go. And there's a lot of other stuff on fritzbeermusic.com.
He's got a section just for Alton bands.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. You can just go on and click on it and listen to a bunch of local music that'll just play on a playlist for you.
That's right.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
The other thing that's different now from the early days of the Bishops is the internet's a way more powerful and a more useful tool. And you got a guy like Gus who's down there in Rolla. You send him a track now, and he can work on it. And then the next time you guys get together, he's got a way better idea than just showing up for rehearsal each week. So
that's right. That's right, the internet, and so advertising and everything on the internet's a big deal too. But I will tell you this: I had a pretty good time the other day going out and old school putting up flyers around downtown.
Oh yeah.
I had my staple gun and I went down and I hit the telephone poles down in downtown Alton. It was fun.
It is fun. It's a thing. And talking about the live music one more time, I think the music industry in a whole is leaning more towards live performances and vinyl again.
Yeah,
is what I'm seeing.
Love that.
And it's because that digital sound is overproduced, and it just doesn't have that feeling,
right?
Of the live sound. So.
Just speaking of the digital and analog, everybody goes back and forth. I got the inside track here. The Lighthouse Studio B, all analog.
Really?
Yeah. So there's going to be an all analog studio. That Studio A's got, I think, got a little both maybe.
So we need to book the Bishops in there.
There you go.
Right?
Well, you can do your home studio. You got your home studio stuff, and you can cut all your demo stuff and get all your tracks ready.
Yep.
Go into that
place. Go in there and they can mix and match, man.
When you got it done, you go in
mix
there
and master
and do your recording, or record it.
Yeah, Once you got it down to the T's.
Yeah, you know what you want to do.
It's kind of like what you were saying earlier about when you're listening to the tracks and you hear that harmony or you hear that melody or whatever, and you go, "Ooh, I want to add this."
Yeah,
you can figure all that out at home.
Right.
Then head down.
Right. Now
and record a professional recording.
You got your demo.
Yeah.
You got your demo and you got it just how you want it to be. Then take it into the studio and cut it.
Yep. Love to see all that happening with the new studio opening up down there. Love to see all the kids doing the do-it-yourself who can't afford studios, and really loving to see the live recordings coming out so good these days from the local gigs.
So, Gus, what are you doing besides coming up and jam with the Bishops every now and again? You got anything else going on?
Not really. Whenever the Bishops get together, it's like, it's really the only, type of playing that I do. I really don't do that much musically, but, it's like riding a bike. It's like, just getting together with the guys, and it just all comes back, and rehearsals have gone real well, and it's all just sort of gelled. So, but it's always fun to do.
I think something interesting that Fritz brought up with having two different drummers. He's jamming with Eric tonight, and then you show up, and he's like, it's like having another band. It's two different guys, and I'll play the same song with two different guys, and it's a different song.
Different feel, man.
So the crowd's gonna get the same kind of thing out of that.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
I neglected to mention, I was able to do a really cool show last. Actually, it was Christmas Eve with me and Tim and Doug and Flea from Judge Nothing, and did some Judge Nothing songs. It was fun.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That was a good time.
Nice. Sounds like good times. So that's happening. The Bishop show is happening this Saturday.
Right.
And that's happening at the Lovejoy Entertainment System. We all know it as Elijah P's.
Right.
Just over the corner from where we're at here at the Old Stratford. So all you Bishops fans out there, and we know there's a bunch of you, going all the way back to 88. And even before Gus. So there you go.
Yeah. 86.
Going back to 86. So we know there's a lot of Bishops fans out there. It's time for you to all come down and get together and just have a good party.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, appreciate you calling in, Gus, and giving us some time.
Well, thank you very much, Dennis and Pigpen. Really appreciate it. Appreciate the support. What you guys do is great.
Thank you so much.
Definitely thanks for having us on, guys. Thanks a lot.
Oh, thank you guys for being on, and thanks for all the years of music, man. A big part of the Alton music scene, and this little Rivertown's got a pretty good music scene going on, man.
Absolutely.
And Fritz, you're playing occasionally with Gigi Dar in town. We've seen you a little bit.
Yeah, and she's Gus's cousin, by the way.
Check that out.
I don't know if you knew that, but that's Gus's cousin, Gigi, and I do a duo gig every now and then. Yeah, she's great. Gigi's great.
So that's usually Bossanova is one of the main places you do.
Yeah, down at Bossanova. Yeah,
cool.
There you go.
Yeah, she taught me piano.
Nice. There you go.
Yeah, she did.
That's cool.
It's a small world.
Right on.
Wouldn't want to paint it, though.
All right. Well, we appreciate you guys stopping in. We need to move along. We got to go through this list of gigs, Pigpen.
We're already over time.
I know.
We're already over
Thanks,
time.
Guys.
But,
all right. Hey, thanks so much. Everybody get down to the Lovejoy Event Center this Saturday and check out the Bishops.
Yeah, cool.
All right, Gus. We'll talk to you soon.
Hey, thanks, guys.
All right.
All right. See you.
All right, so there you go. That's Gus Kodros, the third.
And Fritz Beer.
Appreciate you coming in. And now we're going to fly through Friday and Saturday. Are you ready?
Let's do it. Let's break our necks on this one. Go ahead.
Right, down at Bottle and Barrel Friday night. Brother Lee and the Leather Jackals, Biff Gnarly and the Reptilians, and the Mindframes.
That's at 7 p.m. on Friday night at the back room. We got Matt Taul every Friday at Bigelos Bistro up in Edwardsville.
All right. Hideous Gentleman at Chez, Maryland, 8 p.m. Friday night.
Up all night at 9:30 down at the Pump House in Wood River on Friday.
Dan Sproat doing Aeries Winery at 5.
Amped Up at 9:30 at Patrick's, formerly Eddie's Bar and Grill in Edwardsville.
And that's Granite City.
Or Granite City. Did I say Edwardsville? Sorry about that.
Isaiah Christian at Baker's and Hale and Godfrey. Rivertown down at Bossanova at 7:30 in Alton.
There you go. We got Mo Pleasure at the Lake House in Maryville, Buffalo Park in Maryville. Dead Man's Bridge, 7 p.m. at Deutz Village Inn and Pontoon Beach.
Don Starwalt, 5 to 8, and Mondin Band at 9:30 at the Stagger-Inn-Again in Edwardsville, and then Flip the Frog doing the Sunset Bar at 8:30 in Godfrey on Friday night. And then Saturday, the Big Bishops reunion at the Lovejoy in Alton.
Oh,
We've been talking about. Chris Ryan doing the Old Bakery Brewery at 7, Tripwire at Doc Holidays and Cottage Chills, and Pat Liston at Proof in Jerseyville. And down at Bottle and Barrel, American Opera with Sarah Burton at 9 p.m. The back room at Bottle and Barrel.
There you go. We got Hookie at Chez, Maryland on Saturday night.
Billy Hurst doing the patio down at the Pump House, and Broken State doing it at 9:30 down there.
Got the Mad Baileys, 9 p.m. at the Franchise Sports Bar in Wood River.
Jonathan Baker up at Aeries Winery at 3 p.m. Scott Logan and Leslie Craig at the Grafton Winery.
We got Flipside 6 to 10 on Saturday at Wild Pickens in Chesterfield, Illinois.
Pulp Friction, 8
like
p.m.
it.
at Rooster's Pub in Staunton.
We got the Masterminds at 9:30 at Patrick's Bar, again, formerly Eddie's in Granite City.
How about the Rocky Mountain Oysters, Pigpen?
I like it. I guess. I don't know.
You should try them. That's
great.
Also Carrie's 40th birthday party at the cabin at Judy Creek and Glen Carbon.
Bags Fly Free, 5 to 8, and the Weiss Brothers at 9:30. Both of that's at the Stagger-Inn in Edwardsville on Saturday night.
And then Dead Man's Bridge doing it again at Deutz on Saturday.
Hey, I got a quick one I want to go back and touch on. Friday, June 28th at the Machinist Hall in Bridgeton. There's a Evelyn's Way presents an evening with Aretha Franklin.
Right.
And that is a big benefit going on over there. Lorenzo Smalls is involved in that. So local folks involved in that one. And what about the Broken Kingdom one?
Okay, I'll get to that as we wrap it up. I'm going to fly through Sunday.
Oh, we're going to squeeze Sunday in. Let's do it.
Yeah, and you at the open mic every Sunday and Wednesday at Stagger-Inn. Kurt Copeland doing the Sunday Fun Day open mic at Proof up in Jerseyville. Captain Geach 2 to 6 p.m. at the Wild Pickens Winery in Chesterfield. Pat Liston doing the Boathouse in St. Charles at 3 p.m. on Sunday. Dan Grover 2 p.m. at Aeries Winery in Grafton. Don Turlington 2 to 6 at the Grafton Winery. And let's see, the one-man acoustic jam 4 to 7 at the Tri-County Rod and Gun Club in Brighton. And Dan Sproat doing the Brown Bag Bistro here in Alton 1 o'clock on Sunday. And our guest, yes, Broken Arrow, they want
Broken Kingdom.
Oh yeah, Broken Kingdom. Sorry.
Broken Arrow was a band.
That's what happens when you get flying really fast. Right?
It's all right. Neil Young was in that band.
Yeah. So they are playing on July 13th over at a place called Sonny's Bar in Overland, and they're playing with a touring group called First Official Jason, and that stands for the first guy who played Jason in Friday the 13th.
Jason Voorhis.
Yeah, that Jason. Not Matt Van Voorhis, right? Our sponsor. Aeries Lehman, I guess is the guy's name, that was the first official Jason, so that's his band. And they're playing with Enslaved by Fear, Bathhouse Betty.
Bathhouse Betty.
I knew you'd love it.
Okay, that's a good name.
Yeah, I knew you'd love that. Grace Divide, of course, the Broken Kingdom, and 86 Family. That taking place on July 13th. All the stuff at cottonmouth.org, all the gigs, the links, and if you're watching the video, it's all right there in the description. You can check out all these gigs, and you don't have to listen to us talk about them.
There you go.
No show next week, Pigpen, right? Because it's
4th of July.
Independence Day.
Yep.
We do have all the gigs for next weekend at cottonmouth.org, so if you're wondering what's going on, just stop by there. Set a good weekend, right?
Big thanks to our guests, Gus Kodros, Fritz Beer from the Bishops, and the Broken Kingdom guys. Thanks to all you for listening.
And we thanks to everybody for listening and getting out there and support local music and art, just like Halpin Music Company and Mr. Matt Van Boris of Macias Insurance. We will talk to you guys in 2 weeks.